Hello and welcome to Brewers Daily, part of the Fan Arch Podcast Network. This episode is brought to you by Kalshi. Use promo code FANARCHBASEBALL to get $10 when you trade 10. I'm Dave Gasper. We got a Friday show here. The Milwaukee Brewers finish up their series against the Cleveland Guardians. They're starting a new one tonight against the Atlanta Braves. And also we got some news to talk about as well about Quinn Priester and the draft. But first, that game on Thursday, that was just a truly horrendous game, a very forgettable game for the Brewers, and really honestly the Guardians, but someone had to win it. The Brewers gave up 8 walks in the game. The Guardians gave up 9 walks, and no one could do anything with runners in scoring position. The Brewers were 1 for 12. The Guardians were 0 for 12. But they got a couple of home runs off some Brewers relievers. Kunal gave up a solo shot. Grain Anderson gave up a home run, and it just ended up being a tough one for the Brewers, coming up short. But Parker Messick pitched well, and hey, as Meatloaf, the great philosopher, once said, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. And that's what the Brewers get. They get 2 out of 3 against Cleveland. And Cleveland's a very good team in their own right. So, you can't sweep everybody. You can't sweep every very good team. But certainly it is a tough one to kind of have. Just a forgettable game. You just put it behind you and move on to the next one. But, I thought Shane Drowan pitched pretty well. 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 run. Did have the 3 walks, but still, Shane Drowan largely pitched well. Parker Messick pitched well. 6 innings, 2 runs over there for him. But just a tough one for the Brewers, come up short, and they're just gonna have to get back on it here as they head out on the road against Atlanta. But also there was some news that came out on Thursday that we got to talk about, which is something that we'd been talking about for a while. And as I had said, it was inevitable, and it has happened. Quinn Priester has decided to get thoracic outlet surgery on Monday, and he will be out for the remainder of the season. He talked about it with reporters a little bit there, and just how with the arm being over his head, the nerve and the feeling just kind of not quite there with the thoracic outlet because of the compression on it. So that's why he was unable to have any sort of command and control as things were going along. And the decision from the surgeon was that he needed to have the surgery. There's no point in waiting any longer. He's going to be out, 8 to 10 months. So he's expecting and hoping to be back for spring training next season. But he's going to be working his way through. He's getting the surgery, and his season is officially done before it could ever really get started. And again, this is the right move here for Quinn Priester and the Brewers. They probably should have done it like a month ago, but I understand Priester, and he talked about it a little bit. I understand why he wanted to explore every possible avenue that was not surgery beforehand and really just try and make it through without. But again, at the end of the day, it was not feasible. It was not realistic to be able to do so. And also, just with the way that thoracic outlet surgery has progressed over the years, it's no longer kind of the death knell that it used to be for some of these guys. Like 10 years ago, if you had thoracic outlet surgery, your career legitimately might be done. But also at the same time, if you had thoracic outlet syndrome in general, your career could be done. So whether you get the surgery or not, if you don't get the surgery, you're not going to be good. If you do get the surgery, you might come back, but you might not. But the way that it's progressed now, it's a much stronger chance of you coming back to what you once were. So it is time for Quinn Priester to get that surgery. And again, it's a very difficult decision to make. I understand that, especially when you're the one that's going to be going under the knife. But for Quinn, this is definitely the best move, the right move for him to be able to continue going forward. Because as we talked about, with each of his rehab starts, the command was not getting better. The command was not coming back. He was still dealing with the effects of the thoracic outlet syndrome. And that is why you're seeing 5 walks in an Arizona Complex League game. Just not being able to find the zone literally anywhere. And that just makes it's too much to overcome because physically, even if he does not feel any pain or whatever else, you can't put him on a big league mound if he's got no idea where the ball is going like that. You just can't. There's no reason to do that to him, no reason to do that to the team. So surgery is the option here, as we've been saying all along. They've just been delaying the inevitable, and now they could not delay it any longer, and the inevitable is here. So on Monday, it is going to be surgery for Quinn Priester. He'll be going down back to Texas with Dr. Pearl, the specialist that he had seen, and they made the decision on. So he's going to have that surgery on Monday. So best of luck to Quinn Priester on his surgery, and hopefully he's able to recover and come back stronger in 2027. So that's really kind of what the goal is now. Just get stronger, get healthy for next season. So yeah, because then you can play in as many games as possible. And on Kalshi, you can trade every single game. And we're looking at this game here tonight between the Brewers and the Braves. And guess what? It's Miz Day. Okay, it's Jacob Mizorowski bump day. And that means we are looking at the player props, and we are looking at the strikeouts, and we're looking at Jacob Mizorowski at 10 plus. And somehow, Jacob Mizorowski at 10 plus strikeouts is trading at only 33%. Okay, so you can get yourself in on this action because Miz at 10 or more strikeouts, that feels like a pretty solid one every single time. And that means a $100 trade at 33% chance for Miz to strike out 10 would pay out $286 with a win. So last time when we talked about Miz and 10 strikeouts, he ended up going to 15. I'm feeling pretty good about just getting 10 plus for this one. The way that he's been pitching, the insane role that he has been on. I know the Atlanta Braves are a good team, okay? They have been winning a lot of games. But Jacob Mizorowski sat down the Phillies, who have been a really good team and winning a lot of games. So he sat them down with ease. I wouldn't be surprised if he could do the exact same here to the Atlanta Braves. So Jacob Mizorowski, 10 plus strikeouts, $100 trade pays out $286 with a win. On Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. So as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. And for a limited time, use promo code FANARCHBASEBALL to get $10 when you trade 10 when you download the Kalshi app. KALSHI Kalshi, trade on anything. All right. Now, mentioned the Brewers trying to, spring training there. Get Quinn Priester ready for spring training. Spring training may also get delayed a little bit because the collective bargaining agreement negotiations that are going to be going on are going to be nasty, and it's going to be a while before they come to an agreement on something. On Thursday, MLB put out a couple more proposals for the collective bargaining agreement regarding the MLB draft and the amateur entry system. They proposed cutting the draft from 20 rounds in its current iteration to 12. Pretty large cut in the draft there. They also proposed an international draft once again. Fewer slots in it this time around, same amount of money as it was before, but fewer slots, so more to each player in that sense. And it would raise the minimum age to 18 years old. Also in the regular, like the amateur draft, the one that's in July that we usually talk about, they would also stop high schoolers from being eligible. High schoolers no longer eligible for that draft, so that means the Brewers could not draft a Cooper Pratt out of high school anymore. It would allow eligibility or more eligibility after a sophomore season in college ball. But that's kind of some of the main changes there. And the MLB Players Association was not having it. They put out a stronger kind of this is awful statement than they did on the initial salary cap and floor proposal. It almost felt like. I mean, when the league put their first proposal together with that cap and floor, uh, the union almost seemed a bit more kind of like measured in their response and saying we don't think this is a good thing. But when MLB came out with these draft changes, uh, it was immediate. The Players Association coming in and being like, no, absolutely not. This is the worst thing. This is the most anti-player, whatever. Everything's anti-player. But still, this is the most anti-player thing that's ever been put out there. Like, this is awful, but like they completely eviscerated these changes. And so I don't think ultimately some of these changes, obviously are going to be getting through. Last time the international draft was a big sticking point. They ended up trying to like table it for 6 months and just decided not to do it. But it's also something that's going to be a bargaining chip. I feel like it's something that's put on the table so that it can be taken off the table for something else later on, potentially. I know MLB does kind of want to continue contracting the minor leagues and using college baseball as that kind of development platform, kind of similar to football, where like the NFL uses college football as their minor leagues, as their player development, system, so that they can just draft them and they can just come right up to the big squad. Okay, that's why the NFL does not have minor league teams, but because they can just use college baseball. I think Major League Baseball is trying to trend in that direction where they can have fewer minor league teams to go with. So, but you just kind of draft fewer players, and they can just come much more quickly to the major leagues. So I think that's the direction they're trying to go. I mean, obviously they cut the draft from 50 rounds to 40 rounds, then to 20 rounds. They cut out minor league affiliates, so they're trying to contract that ever since really MLB took it over back in 2020. They've been trying to draw that down. So, but I do love the draft, and I think the 20 round iteration, the way it currently stands, I think it's really good, and I like it. But I liked it a bit more than I thought after it dropped down from 40 rounds because I'm just a draft nerd like that. But still, cutting it to 12, taking out the high school draft part of it. I understand wanting to take out the high school draft part of it. Just having those kids go to college, things like that. That they can blame NIL or whatever else, all that they want. But you're gonna run into the same thing trying to draft college kids who have potential NIL possibilities, especially when they're established college players. But it is just going to be another course in the long, winding road of collective bargaining and negotiations that will be happening over the next several months. But that's just something I wanted to kind of make you guys aware of that was put out there on Thursday, just the changes to the draft that MLB is trying to make happen. But the Players Association, not really all for. I am for an international draft. I think that makes a ton of sense. I know the players are kind of iffy on it, but an international draft, and it would raise the minimum age for those players to 18. So instead of 16, which it currently is, and you wouldn't have the scouting of kids at 12, 13 years old, which is very exploitative, what's going on. But it's how you have to run in the international market. So if you could change that, change the age to 18, have an actual draft system so you don't have to try and pressure these kids into accepting whatever, dollar bonuses at 12 years old, or you're trying to scout him at 12 and it's like, oh no, this guy, by the time he gets to 16, actually not going to be as good anymore. So it does kind of save a little bit of that, but we'll see ultimately if any of that ends up getting through at the end of it. All right, let's look ahead to this actual series now that the Brewers have against the Atlanta Braves. Brewers down in Atlanta coming up here. And this is going to be Jacob Misiorowski bump day here tonight. So that's obviously, super exciting for the Milwaukee Brewers. 134 ERA on the season, 131 strikeouts. Just absolutely stupid numbers for Jacob Misiorowski. Martin Perez is on the mound for the Braves. Left-hander, 5-3 record this year, 2.90 ERA. So he's been pretty good in his own right, and he's left-handed, so that's going to have an impact on the Brewers lineup as well. And then we got a matchup of more lefties on Saturday. Kyle Harrison on the bump for the Crew. Miz and Harrison now back-to-back again. Facing Chris Sale for the Braves, 8-5, 2.30 ERA. Chris Sale still really good. He is still really freaking good. And he's going to be out there. He's going to be causing havoc there for the Brewers on the mound on Saturday. And then on Sunday, Robert Gasser, is on the bump for Milwaukee, another left-hander for them, in his 4.88 ERA. But on Sunday, the Braves will go with a right-hander, Bryce Elder, who has been pretty good this season as well. 3.15 ERA, 73 strikeouts. So he's been figuring things out a little bit. And part of the reason that the Braves have been such a good team. Braves are 46 and 27. Brewers are 45 and 27. These are two of the best teams in the National League. And the Braves have been off to a fantastic start. And I remember people and Braves fans being upset at their lack of moves in the offseason. But with a lot of guys healthy, they have been or even with a lot of guys out, they have been able to withstand and maintain, and they've had a really good pitching staff. Despite not a ton of depth to it, they've had a really good pitching staff. So that has added to their success as well. So this should be a really fun series this weekend between two of the top teams in the National League. So I'm excited for it. You're excited for it, and we're going to be breaking it all down on Monday when we come back here. So be sure to subscribe to Brewers Daily if you haven't already. Get notified when new episodes drop. Also follow me on Twitter as well at dgasper24. I'll have a whole bunch of coverage of the series over the weekend also. And appreciate all of you watching and listening, and we'll see you again next time for another episode of Brewers Daily.